Is Festival of the Lost 2023 the best event ever in the history of Destiny? Is this single-handedly going to bring back players that quit in D2 Vanilla? Has this one event rectified all the wrong of Lightfall and its narrative woes? Has it reversed the psychological trauma of sunsetting? Well, obviously not. Guys, I know I'm being kind of dramatic, but we've been streaming this event all week. And let me just say, personally, I've actually been enjoying myself. And the moment I say that, I immediately get hit with the shill comment. But I do have an MMO background. And where in the history of MMOs has there been a Halloween or Christmas event or pretty much any holiday event that somehow magically saved their game? That's not what they are. Holiday events in game are holiday events. And that's it. They're meant to just be something you jump in, you partake in an activity, you get whatever holiday event item it may be, and then you carry on. Now, with that being said, in comparison to the past, I don't know, 2-3 years maybe, this has been the most engaging Halloween event we've had in Destiny. For me personally, yes, it's pretty much the same old loot with some more origin traits on it and some new trait combinations, which I will say are very nice. No, this grenade launcher is definitely not something you absolutely need to get unless we have a rapid fire grenade launcher buff coming up around the corner, but this is definitely not a GL that you need to have in your arsenal. I will say though, having a grenade launcher with 0 blast radius is kind of a flex. However, what has kept me engaged has really been the haunted lost sectors, or more specifically, the haunted legend lost sectors. Now, this activity is challenging, pretty much like any other lost sector. However, ad density is pretty high. It's definitely made for 3 players, and they've added matchmaking to the legend haunted lost sectors. And let me just say, this has been an eye-opening experience because I did not realize just how bad Destiny players actually are. I know, I'm sounding extremely toxic right now, but dude, some of your builds, some of your loadouts, the things you are bringing into this legend lost sector, how in the hell do you expect to get through this activity? Because I know it's not going to be because of your stuff. You're coming in this with the most janked up stuff, hoping to get carried, which has led me to just try to find builds that I can utilize almost to solo these legend haunted lost sectors. Because the builds folks are bringing in here, ain't it, man? I have lost complete faith in my fellow blueberries. It's bad enough whenever a public event doesn't get heroic. This is on a whole nother level. I'm watching blueberries run in and just get stomped to death over and over. My favorite are the blueberries that never actually get on the cap point. They literally just sit in the back of the map, like surviving is the objective. Fellas, we gotta get cap points. That's part of the game mode, is to get cap points and kill Headless. If these are the Guardians we're bringing into the final shape, there is no way in hell we're gonna beat the Witness. With that being said though, Festival of the Lost has actually been fun because of 2 things. Number 1, the difficulty of these legendary haunted lost sectors, and number 2, loot. And I'm not just talking about the same weapons over and over. I'm talking about eerie engrams and what you can do with them. You can focus them. You can turn them in directly. You can get prisms and ascended shards and materials. Simultaneously, you can utilize them to target exotics. And considering we just had a number of different exotics be leaked to us on their updates next season, this is a perfect opportunity for players to go ahead and get that God roll Mechaneer's trick sleeves. And then we have the Memento. Now, this is a new thing. Bungie has not done this. This is the first time they've done this, but essentially this is a time-limited memento, aka a shader. Now, the difference between shaders and mementos is that mementos are one-time use only. Not only are they one-time use, they are not stackable, meaning you can only hold one of them. Now, if you haven't checked out our guide on how to do Festival of the Lost this year, feel free to check that out. But essentially, upon completing the triumph associated with this memento, once it drops that one time, then it will begin to drop as random drops from eerie engrams. Now, granted, the first few days this week, it was not actually dropping randomly. Matter of fact, it wasn't dropping at all. You got your one from the triumph and that was it. But Bungie has since fixed that, as well as fixing the Heads Will Roll event challenge, which can now be completed in both normal and legend haunted lost sectors. Now, what makes this black memento so amazing? Is it really that sexy? Somebody even came out of stream and said, Cross, I could literally get the same exact look or something close to that with other black shaders. Not quite, guys. There is a distinct difference between this black shader and others, but more so than that, it's the fact that it has rarity attached to it. This is a time-limited memento. Not only is it time-limited, but we will only be able to carry one with us past this activity. That's like the equivalent of like Santa hats back inside of RuneScape, or things like Halloween masks, right? There's a certain level of rarity. You'll be able to carry that with you to say, hey, I was around during that event. Now, I think most of us are probably going to be farming this nonstop for the next few weeks as to applying this memento to literally every craftable weapon we have. It may seem like a small thing, but in my opinion, it is a step in the right direction. Not only that, but the activity is fun, both on a challenging level and also just the fun nature of the dialogue from Amaru, Drifter, and a number of other characters. You get a sneak peek into personalities of everyone and how these these characters view each other. Characters like Glint and Ida that we haven't heard from for a very long time. There's a jab made at Drifter and the Gambit, and one voice line from Amaro that literally says, Guardians don't do anything unless loot is involved, which is hilarious because it's so true. Yes, loot is an incentive that all of us appreciate, but at the same time, the activity is fun. And with it rotating every 2.5 hours, dare I say it feels pretty fresh as I'm playing it throughout the day, going from lost sector to lost sector and fighting a variety of different enemy types. And this is probably going to change week to week. This week we have Void and Strand Surge, which is matching that of our Grandmaster Nightfalls, and I'm assuming next week it'll rotate again, which of course is going to make us utilize different builds. Unless of course you're using Strand Titan, which means you're probably just pooping on everything. Bungie, please don't nerf this. But to get back to the topic at hand, I've had a number of folks come by our stream who have been very, very salty with Destiny 2, and I guess the state of the game for them. Maybe you've lost interest with Destiny, maybe Lightfall burned you, or maybe it's the seasonal mod. Whatever the case, what I will say is that this season has been different. I've seen adjustments from Bungie's end that seems to be moving us in the right direction. And for me, looking at Festival of the Lost, I'm appreciating it for what it is, a Halloween event. And more so than that, Bungie really has put effort in here, and I have to acknowledge it, guys. Cross your Bungie shield. Listen, man, we got bigger things to worry about. First, we need to work on your build. And I've seen some of the shite builds you guys have been recommending. Terrible. With that being said, though, there is the other side of things. That being the monetization, aka event cards. I still maintain that event cards are still the worst thing in Destiny. I also still maintain that if you buy the deluxe edition of Destiny every year, which is the annual expansion plus all the seasons, or I guess in next year's case, the episodes, you should have automatic access to the items in the event card. Just my opinion. And it's not like I'm looking at these items in the event card and thinking to myself, I have to have them, as if these items are the most desirable thing in the game. Obviously not. They're cosmetic, but I feel like if Bungie extended those items to players that own the deluxe edition, that put out the money every single year to be committed for an entire year, then they should also have access to these items. And I feel like Bungie really bridges the gap here on the Eververse side of things by allowing us to purchase armor sets with Bright Dust. That's a good thing. Yes, you can buy those armor sets with silver, but you can also buy them in Bright Dust, and you have repeatable bounties in the event that allows you to farm for Bright Dust. But the event card is purely locking these items behind the paywall, which is fine for, I guess, like the free-to-play player that may actually drop silver on this, which doesn't really make a lot of sense, but perhaps they will. Or maybe even just a person that's jumping in for the season. But for that Guardian that's actually putting up money to play an entire year of Destiny, event cards for all activities should not even be a thing. It should just be automatically unlocked for all of us to jump in and earn those items. Considering the sheer amount of other items we have in the Eververse store that is related to this event, that's outside of the armor sets. Again, Bungie, you show goodwill to the community, similar to how you're doing here with the Memento, which is really nice. This community will return the favor tenfold. Now, one other question I want to address that has been asked a number of times, and we even asked it too. Bungie, where is the Infinite Force? During Festival of the Lost, the Infinite Force had a spooky vibe to it. And don't get me wrong, I really do love the way the Haunted Lost sectors look. My only request for the aesthetic of this event so far is that Tess needs to be in a Halloween outfit. Like, considering she's literally selling us stuff left and right. Yo, Bungie, put her in something. She's got the same death stare at us year after year, literally wearing the same stuff, selling us holiday stuff, and doesn't even partake. But the Infinite Force really did capture that spookiness, partly because you had a Dark Knight that was literally behind you pretty much at all times and would spawn up at slam, but the lighting and the darkness, it really did capture that feel. Now, what it did not have was the difficulty that these Legend Haunted Lost sectors have. Personally, I would love to see the Haunted Force return, but with the enemy density and difficulty that we have this year with Haunted Lost sectors. Now, will that ever happen? I think a lot of things have to happen before the Infinite Force or even the Haunted Force ever returns. I think Mercury would have to come back in some way. I think we would have to have an expansion that involves it. But considering this is Destiny 2, like I've said in the past, everything always comes back. And who knows? Episode 1, which is Echoes, actually looks to be Vex related. So we may be in a scenario where perhaps Mercury or even the Infinite Force does in fact return, which would be a perfect opportunity for a Halloween event next year to bring us back the Haunted Force. With that being said though, where Festival of the Lost is right now, this has been one of the better experiences I've had in a very long time. I've actually had a lot of fun with this, guys. It feels like Halloween. Holiday events inside of games are some of my favorite times. I remember playing Aeon Online years ago during Christmas and seeing that giant Christmas tree in that main city and everything just decked out. I feel like we have that experience here inside of Destiny 2 as well. An experience that I think some of us will remember. And yes, I will be remembering Festival of the Lost 2023. Again, if you're looking for this activity or this event to save the game for you, dude, just wait till Final Shape. I think there were some people that definitely got burned from life. Oh, hell, I think we all did, but some of us more than others. And if you're looking for that major shakeup, that major wow, then I would argue and say wait until Final Shape, or perhaps even wait until the episodes. That major shakeup is not something that a holiday event would ever solve. However, I truly believe since the beginning of this season that Bungie has been making very good steps, starting with the seasonal model this season. And from Joe coming out, addressing the state of the game, him streaming last week, which was a great time, and the seasonal shakeup this season alongside this event. Personally, guys, I've been enjoying Destiny 2. I've got the bug again, man. You know how it is. And maybe it's just this Memento. I don't know. Whatever the case, I've actually been enjoying my time playing Destiny. Let me know in the comments below if you've been enjoying this year's Festival of the Laws. Also, let me know if there's any suggestions you guys may have. Things that Bungie may not have thought about. Dude, I was thinking the other day, I would love to go trick-or-treating around the town. Hell, if it's possible, I would love to go to the last city and go trick-or-treating and just see the place all decked out. That would be amazing. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching. And as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.